Alright, so it's halfway into the first stage of my Lego Porsche, which is, or Porsche, I have no idea how to pronounce this, which is going to end up looking something like this. It's going to be amazing, great. This is the working mechanism of, well, not yet, but it's going to be a working mechanism of a car with everything, including, shifting gears, forward and reverse drives. Even the cylinders in the engines are going to work. Steering, of course, everything is going to be working, and everything is done with this Lego pieces. With no glue and no screwdrivers or anything like that. It's just amazing that they were able to do that. So a lot of people posted a lot of videos on YouTube about this car, but nobody, at least I didn't find anything that explains how the mechanism actually works. So I thought I would do that. And I don't claim to be an expert. Actually, there's quite a lot of stuff here that I don't understand myself, but a lot of it I did kind of figure out, and that's actually part of the fun for me, because I get to learn how a car might be built. I mean, it's not it's not exactly one-to-one the way a real car is built, but I think the principles are kind of similar. In any case, it's really interesting. So, all right. So here goes. So this is the back of the car. This is the front of the car. And in Porsche, the engine is at the back. Okay, and so. The power needs to go forward through all these transmissions and then backwards towards the rear wheels. The thing I don't know is whether so this is going to be here, and so the thing I don't know is whether the power is coming from here, like if this is the engine and then going back through this shaft over here, or the other way around. So what I do think, looking at the book and trying to figure it out, is that it's actually coming from here, from these three shafts here, through the transmission to here, and then this is going back to the rear wheels. I think so. In case I'm wrong, so I'll fix it in the second part, in the next part, because this is going to be a lot crazier with more cogs and mechanism and what have you. Anyway, I'm assuming that this is where the power is coming from. But the thing is that it's actually easier to explain it, at least for me, it's easier to understand it and to explain it the other way around. So we're going to start here with where the power is going to, and then work our way backwards into the engine, and we'll see how it works. So it has and all the gears are already working and all that. It's pretty great. So let me just get this out of here, because I keep getting worried that it might break, because it's hanging there. Right. So we're starting here. As you can see, right now this is on neutral. So what it means is that this just rotates with no consequence. It doesn't go anywhere. So this, you can see here, is reverse, neutral, and reverse. It's on neutral now, and what this means is that this little gray thing here in the gearbox here is in the middle, okay? And you can see that it rotates, and that's it. That's the only thing that happens. And so if I move it over here, now it's in rear drive mode. So that means you see that little gray thing here. it goes into the red cog, and then when I rotate this, now the red cog is gonna rotate the whole mechanism. Just gonna do it from here. This is the same thing. So now the whole thing is rotating, actually in reverse to the direction I'm rotating here. So I'm rotating this here, and everything is rotating the other way. Okay, and then if I move it over here, now it's engaging the other cog, and now I'm rotating it this way, and everything is going the same way. So so that's how that works. Inside here, there's a bunch of, a little bit hard to see, but there's a bunch of cogs that this is, as far as I understand, this is just about creating that directional twist. So we don't have to go deep into that. And then from here, and remember we're doing it backwards, right? I'm now sort of turning the wheels instead of the engine. So we're going backwards. So yeah, so now I'm rotating this. I've engaged one of these red cogs here, and so now everything is rotating. So it's going to this cog over here, which is then, I don't know why, and if anybody knows why, you know, maybe somebody's seeing that and they know why, so just write it in the comments, because I'm kind of interested. Like, these could easily, it seems to me, be you know, like on the same shaft. They're pretty much rotating together, but they're not. There is no connection between the gray wheel over here and the white wheel over here. What happens is that the power is transferred to that cog, which is on the same shaft with that cog, and that cog rotates the white one. I don't know why they did that. It looks like there's a hole here. They could have just put it on the same shaft. So I'm wondering why they did that. In any case, so this is what happens. So and then it goes to these three wheels. Basically, this just changes the direction of it. Like if this is going that way, then this is going the other way. Okay, so this is what that does. I guess that's important for some reason. And then it comes to that gray one. So, and this is where it gets interesting. This gray one rotates those red ones, and they rotate those gray ones. So now the important thing to understand is, even though this is kind of, this looks all on the same kind of three shafts, it's not. All of those wheels, they turn independently of everything else. And this is the ingenious part to me. So the gear shift is coming from this whole system, which is independent of everything else that we just saw. And this is going to be controlled from the wheel box in the end, which is not built here yet. So, and the wheel box is going to move that little shaft here 90 degrees at a time. So you would have, within the 360 degrees of a circle, you would have 9 positions for the gear. So it's 4 gears. Not like the actual Porsche, which has, I think, 7 gears, but impressive enough in anyway, again in a Lego set. And the way what it does is, let me back up for just a second. I'm going to take this thing apart for a second here. I'm going to show you this thing here. So this is exactly the same thing that we had here. So sorry, here. So the the gray piece here selects one of the, which cog to activate. It's the same thing here. So when the cog is in the red one, this cog, it's going to engage that one. And when it's in that one, it's going to engage that one. Okay, it's the same thing here. And so what we get is, and we have the same system here. And so what we get here is basically a system where with two subsystems here, 1 and 2, and each subsystem has 3 states. So that red engaging this red cog, engaging none of them, and engaging that red cog. Okay, so you have sort of a combination of, like you can have this one in here and that one in here, or this one in here and that one in neutral. So you have a lot of combinations. Okay, and what they did here basically is they created this system where on this side, every time I rotate this like 90 degrees, like so, it's going to, see, 4 different states, punk, punk, punk. It's going to change, don't want to block the light here, it's going to change, it's going to pull that little thing, which then pulls that little thing, that gray thing, and moves it between the 3 positions. Okay? And on the other side, we have exactly the same thing, only in a slightly different initial position, so that, again, it's the same thing. 4 positions, and which move this thing between these positions. Okay? So if we look at the whole thing, this goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 different scenarios here of the 2 systems. Okay. So what does that do? So I'm going to go back to rotating this the wheels here. And remember, we're always going backwards. So in the end, it's flowing this way, not that way. But just for the sake of explanation. So if you can see here, I'm rotating this. Maybe I'll pull it back. Yeah, I'm rotating this, and you can see that only this one is rotating. Okay, and it's rotating quite slowly. This would be, I think, the first gear. Okay, because it's also very it's kind of easy to rotate. There's not much resistance. Okay, so this would be the first gear. Slow, but is easy for the engine to move the car. Then, if I turn this to the next position, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go back. So I went back to the first gear. The first gear, you can see that this is engaging that red cog, and but these 2 are on neutral. They're not gauged here. Okay, so this is the reason. So because this is rotating, it rotates this, which rotates that, rotates that. Okay, so then I'm going to go to the next one, and so the next one, all of a sudden this stopped rotating, and now this is rotating. And the reason this is happening is because in that state, this is pushed into that gear, and now that gear is affected by the whole system, and it's rotating this one. Okay. And then the next one would be this situation in which that one is now rotating through the exact same thing. Now this is put in neutral, this is put into the red one, and it's kind of rotating that one. And the very last one, the very last state, we go back to this bit rotating, but it's rotating a lot faster. So, and then it's giving me a lot more resistance. I can feel it. You know, it's like it takes more power to rotate, and that's because now this is not engaged. This is engaged. It moves that one, which moves a whole, you know, moves a whole big system of cogs here. And I don't pretend to. I'm not pretending to understand everything that's happening here. Like, why is this transmission like this? Is too complicated for me. I just wanted to understand the gear shift and all that. So so this is now rotating quite quickly, and I'm gonna keep rotating at the same speed just to show you. So this is how fast this is rotating, and now I'm gonna go back to the first gear, and you'll see how much slower it rotates, right? And again, it's very easy now to rotate the whole thing. So this is the way I understand it. The power is coming from here. The gear is controlling how much power, you know, like where the power is coming from. And I'm expecting that in one of the next stages, we're gonna add some kind of a system of cogs here that would eventually, because from the engine there's just one source of power, there's just one shaft that's rotating. So I think there's going to be a system that that sends the power somehow to, you know, that somehow makes sense of, you know, why is this being rotated, why is that this gear or that gear, if you understand what I mean. So I don't know yet, and when I do the second part of this, I will probably be able to explain that. Right now, I don't know, but it comes from here. The gear, the whole gear, you know, this whole, you know, four stages, four gears system selects how the power is being transferred to this box in the end. This box then selects, and there's going to be a little drive stick here, gear shift here. Gear stick, whatever you call it, here, that selects between the reverse, neutral, and drive, and then this is kind of this determines what the direction of the rotation of this yellow thing and this red thing. Okay, so I would rotate this thing here, and then you see the red and the yellow here are rotating. This is going to go to the front wheels. I think this is going to go to the back wheels, and if I put it in the other, in drive mode, then it will just go the other way. And that's it. The wheel box is gonna have other than the whole you know, the steering happening, it will also have a mechanism that would connect to this one and do the whole, you know, the four each kind of rotate it 90 degrees at a time to that way or this way. So I'll show that in the next part. And from what I've heard from people, this wheel box is going to be pretty an even more amazing feat of engineering than all of this. But again, the fact that they were able to do something so complex in such a small space, with instructions that are so simple that I could even follow it very easily, even though I have no idea what I'm doing, without glue, without screws, just with these friendly, you know, cutesy little parts, colorful and beautiful. It's just amazing. I'm just loving it so much, and it was pretty expensive, but I'm so happy I got it. It's just like it's kind of a work of art. So yeah, I hope that was interesting to you, and it wasn't too lengthy. And I'll see you again, I hope, in the next part when I explain all the rest of the mechanism. if I understand it. Hopefully I understand it. Alright, bye bye.